bucketing.
6:04, we call the meeting to order.
Yep.
Okay. Roll call. Sage Alexander. Pamela Batchelor.
Here.
Teresa Baxter.
Here.
Iris on video, on LinkedIn. Susan Horowitz.
If not, she's excused.
Okay. Susan Jaggers.
Not yet, but I imagine that she'll
Okay.
be joining us shortly.
Michelle Jones.
Here.
Danielle Cavity. Here. Eve Lacey.
Here.
I'm here. Melanie Neske.
Here.
Nettie Penman.
Is excused.
Okay. Jenny Rabolino.
Here.
And Scott Tilliam.
Here.
And Cindy Tiger is
And
excused.
Cindy Tiger is excused. Okay, so Nettie, Susan, and Cindy are excused. And staff present are Angela.
Yep.
Eric.
Yep.
Our other staff. Our staff dignitary. And, okay.
That's
And
us.
public invited. Wait, okay. All right, public invited to be heard.
We have two.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Eric Kaczynski with the Longmont Downtown Development Authority. I have nothing to say. I'm just here to listen.
Isabella Alexander. I'm just here to listen and enjoy the conversation.
Great.
Okay.
And just as a point of clarification, I was reminded very gently and nicely that on the public invited to be heard, there is the section in the beginning to comment. And should you like in the end of the time that we can create another moment for public comment, but during motions and movement, public invited to be heard is not included in the conversation. Okay? Okie doke. On we go.
Okay.
Not included. That's such a bad way of saying it. Doesn't, yeah. I don't know. Insert the nice way of saying it.
Okay, we got it.
You know what I'm
You
saying.
said it nicely. That's amazing.
Okay.
Okay. The minutes of the February meeting, which was on February 20th. Are there any additions or corrections to the February minutes? Okay. Thank you, Angela, for compiling the minutes.
Yep.
So do we have a motion to approve the minutes as they're written? Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Do I go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? 10?
Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? Are you abstaining?
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Good.
Right.
Point to abstain. Thank you.
Okay. Any additions or corrections to tonight's meeting?
Yes.
Agenda. Okay.
I have one. We will be taking item 15 and inserting shock art at item 15, and then all subsequent items will go down.
Okay, so we have one
Anyone-
inserted agenda item.
Anybody who has the agenda printed tonight is correct. Anybody who printed it at home and is not.
Got it.
So you'll need to add. Okay? And that's it.
Okay. Any other concerns or additions to the agenda, so far as we know? Of course, at the end, we can always make comments and bring things up if we need to. Okay, council comments. Susie is not here.
Correct?
Okay, Clover Meadows update. The Clover Meadows sculpture was dedicated on Saturday, and Teresa and Eve and I attended. It was really fun. Are you gonna show us? And Eric, excuse me. And Angela, of course. And Laura came too.
Yeah.
It was well attended. It was really fun. And I invite you all to go out to Clover Meadows and see it. It's quite beautiful. And it's beautifully positioned from both ends of the park. You can have a good view of it. Do we have slides fit or anything?
No, because my phone was being a little personated, but I'm going to pass my phone around. In the meantime,
There's always a way.
There's always a way. No, it looks fantastic. So hopefully here in just a minute it'll pop up. Oop, there they go. But I'll send this around anyway. There's also pictures of wheelbarrows. So
And the artist was lovely. He was there for the dedication. He was really a nice. What we saw on screen was who he was in person, and that was just really nice to have him there and participating, and he was great in interacting and talking with the kids and the dogs and the people, and just a really nice guy.
Excuse me.
Keep talking. I'm just
We
pulling up
had,
images.
as usual, we had quite a fun time. We had great snacks. We had dog treats. We had a lot of dogs too.
So many dogs.
And Angela and Mike Burke, the artist, worked really hard because it required hauling many, many wheelbarrows full of stuff called crusher, which is loose gravel to the ground of the thing. Here we go.
Oh, thank you.
So there's Teresa.
There's Teresa and significant other.
Anthony.
Anthony, thank you. That's a cute one. Oh, now it's
It
trying to
really
ask
has
me
a
about
lot
this.
of thoughtful components. See, they're kind of offset, so when you're in different parts of the park, it makes kind of an interesting angle. And one of the pedals is ADA compliant.
sharing it.
Oh, can't you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. They are all ADA compliant.
Okay.
Yep.
One of them is a little, so it has kind of a feeling of motion because one of the pedal table seat things is a little higher than the other one.
This one definitely shows. Like
And
it's
it
got
is,
some-
you know, if you go to the main entrance to the park, you walk across the park to get to it. If you go to Jasper Way, which is kind of anyway, if you set your GPS for Jasper Way, you'll end up right in that street right over there behind. So you'll be real close to it.
Yeah, but everybody, I would say, what do you think? 40, probably
so.
30 to 40 people showed up, and the wind died down for a second. I was a little
It wasn't near as bad as it's been.
No. Installation day, on the other hand, was fantastic. We really lucked out. So, yeah, the biggest question from kids is, does it move? And then when we say no, they're like, really? And then they stand on it like they're going to change it or something. It's jumping up and down. But, yeah, Mike was really pleased, and he made it back home. So, yeah, go check it out.
So it is complete, except for the artist's maintenance plan, which we're waiting for, which will be his statement back to us about how often it needs to be cleaned or maintaining the different parts of it. So, send up pictures for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So we need, hopefully, y'all accept the,
okay, so we can entertain a motion to accept Mike Burke's Clover Meadows project, which is called In Tandem, is the name of it.
I'll move
Okay.
to accept the In Tandem art piece.
And I went and saw it later, so I can second it.
Okay.
Because I thought it was really
I'm
cool.
glad you saw it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so any other discussion? Okay, so all in favor of accepting the Clover Meadows project called In Tandem?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay, and no abstentions. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So we'll get Mike paid as soon as we get that maintenance schedule, which he and I have a phone call tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Next item is the Fox Meadows Outdoor Sculpture Project Report.
So, Pavia.
Cool.
You are not sharing.
No, I'm not sharing. I'm sharing, and I'm not sharing. So how about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Pavia is making great headway
Oh,
and
yes.
shared lots of
Nice.
images.
Yeah, that is
I
really
don't
good.
wash it out.
I know, and the
Right.
colors are really interesting
This
too.
is going to be really interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it is.
So you can see little, literally and figuratively bones or
Mm-hmm.
steel structures. Fun. Yeah, right. Yeah,
You
good
can really
point.
see the size
Scale.
there.
So we have decided that we have decided. She says that she will be complete the week of May the 12th.
Oh, neat.
And
That's
so
amazing.
installation probably that Wednesday, Thursday, because if we learned anything, giving ourselves a day of grace is a good decision. So then I think I might be messing my dates up. Hold on. But it's May. It's May. Oh no, I was right. Okay, so the week of May 12th, probably installing that Wednesday, Thursday, 14, 15, taking the day of grace on Friday the 16th, just in case anything happens. The site for this one, of course, is concrete surrounded by native grass. Of course, that's not grown yet, but there's no stonework or anything that needs to happen, so there won't be site finishing here. And then the dedication will be that Saturday, May 17th.
So everyone, please put that in your calendars. Because it really, really is fun to come to these dedications. It is.
I recognize that that's kind of a precarious time of year, but all
And
times
it's
of year.
kind of, it's a weekend and everything, but
Yeah.
it is fun and it doesn't take long.
And I don't have it written down who are my task force members for that.
One.
Year one. So we can talk about dedication logistics. I personally thought that the 11 to 12 worked out really well.
I agree.
It wasn't too early and it snuck up on lunch. It was ample time. Yeah. So I would say 11 to 12 is probably stick
Okay.
with that. Yep, so put it on your calendar. We'll go about it this way. Should something change, I'll let you know. But March has weird weather, but May I feel very, very confident. So yeah.
That's
I love
pretty.
the muscle structure.
I know them.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
incredible.
really cool.
It is. It's beautiful.
Can you remind me where in the city the park is?
Sure. Okay. So if you're on 119, where the kind of museum-ish, let's say we're at Costco. You're at Costco, and you head east on 119, and you get to the county road.
Mm-hmm.
You take a left, and right before you hit 9th, there's some apartments on your left. The park is just to the west of that.
Okay.
So there's a road that you can turn off of the county line and wiggle back, or you can go up to 9th, take a left, and take another left. So it's south of 9th and west of county line on the other side of those apartments.
It's just south of me. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah. I could show you, of course, a map if you.
I have a good memory of that. Yeah, I can picture it.
Yeah, so very cool. Very, very cool. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
Next item, history under wraps update.
So the images have been scanned. There is one, I always say it wrong, Boynton women, that is a nitrate plate and is frozen. And so Eric and team back, 20 years ago?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Took high resolution images of that set of plates at probably industry standard or higher. So there's a good chance that they're very high resolution. We don't know yet if it's going to be high enough resolution for our purposes. Should they not be, then we will leave it out. Should it be, then it will be included. So everybody on the selection panel has sent all of their suggestions for locations. So the next step, of course, is just checking the resolution of that, plugging it into the locations as suggested, and then they'll be done next month. Yes.
What about that image that had some damage? The one that's the hotels? Did that one turn out okay?
We got the high resolution scan of it, and I'm hoping that Jared's magic is
Okay.
he's magical. So I can't promise, but
Okay, this is something.
it was. I thought that it might not be something physical that could be scanned, but it was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you know that the hub has and the old pictures, they're remodeling it and tearing it apart and stuff. And on the second floor in the long hallway, they have all of these old pictures from the museum that are mounted on like hardboard or something, and some of them are really cool.
Whoa.
I'm
you say
probably
the
like-
hub?
Huh?
What's the hub?
The hub. It's the Human Services building on
yeah.
Kaufman and Fifth, right across from the Spoke.
Oh, yeah.
You know that
The
has
newer building.
it has
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff.
all that stuff. Yeah,
Cool.
like
Where we all
SNAP
have to
and
go
veterans
sometimes, yeah.
benefits and mental health and
Now license plates are in there too.
need license plate.
Oh.
Yes, all that. So on the second floor, if you go down the hall, they just and some of them are really cool.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Be worth going to see them.
Yeah, I know it is. It is because they used to just have pictures of people, that were getting services or something. I don't know who they were, but then one day I went and they were gone, and there were all these really cool old pictures, and I went, "Oh, this is much better."
I think the one conversation that's been going around was the Longmont Against the World horse image, and
I
Teresa
love.
said
Oh God, I love that.
to put it at 6th and Main, where the new Save-A-Mat is going, that LDDA is working on, because that's where people come to protest in our town.
That's true.
And I think
great
that's a
idea.
great.
That's a great idea.
We've renamed the rock Protest Rock.
Right.
I know it's called Bricks,
Yeah.
but it's Protest Rock.
There it is.
Because that's where you stand to protest. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Or demonstrate.
Well,
Whatever, however you
yeah,
want to say it.
protest works.
Protest and demonstrate.
Right.
That's true.
But it's interesting that the traffic control people, when we first started the conversation last year and went through the process, they were very hands-on and had lots of opinion. And now I think that there's trust, and they agreed to the images, and they've given us the CDOT recommendations, and they said just abide by the rules. And even us throwing this other one in didn't seem like that it was that problematic. So I think adding one in is just, I think we're in good shape. So a pleasant surprise. Never assume anything ever, but I think we're in good shape. So so those will be done next month.
Very good.
So
Yeah.
the remaining part, so the narratives for the audio tours.
Yes, so I'll be sending the note out to the rest of, because I have not as of yet, maybe if we each just take one or two about writing some of the narrative. I have Eric's book. There's a lot of different resources of just coming up with something clever to talk about. And we can always, of course, refer back to the ones that have been done previously to give you, like sometimes you can't talk exactly about what's happening in the image because there's limited information, but you could point to the population at the time, or maybe a specific building on Main Street. So there's different ways that we can go about it, but I think if we divide and conquer, it'd be a good way of going about it. So yes, so once the wraps are put up, then the QR code is a separate piece of that. So while we're working on the narratives, the wrap can go up, and then we'll go stick the QR code on after.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, next report, Art on the Move.
We have not met for the senior center yet, but we will. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Next item, the Van Gogh, which is the wrapping of the van that belongs
Yes.
jointly to us and to the museum,
Yes.
which we have put to good use lately. It's been busy.
It's dirty, but it's getting a good cleaning. All right, so in front of you, you should have a matrix, and you should have a double-sided paper that has a screenshot, and then another side that is aggressively large writing. Okay.
Here's aggressively large right here.
All right, so let's start with the aggressively large
Here's your
writing.
matrix.
Okay. So some of you have gone through and
you
worked in
share
the
your
portal
screen?
before. Yes. Share the screen. There we go. Some of you have gone into the portal before and have gone through this selection process, probably with Art on the Move. Some of you, it may have been a while, and also they have done some updates which makes it a little bit sleeker, but functionality is the same. So we're going to look at it together. So does everybody have a writing utensil? Great. On your very aggressive writing notes, you're first going to write your username, which is going to be your first initial dot last name. That is going to be your username. The password for this project is going to be Van Gogh 2025. I didn't make it cockamamie like I usually do. This went through, so that's fantastic. The first time that you log in using this web address, the admin call for entry, something is going to happen where they lock this down like Fort Knox. And so you're going to put in your first initial last name, you're going to put in your password, and the first time you go in, it's going to say, whoa, 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 you have to give us a multi-factor authentication. Please, please do email. Because if you choose an app or you say remind me later, you're not going to do this and you're going to do something weird. And then I'm going to have, once you have like one chance to do this and I can't save you if it goes back the wrong way.
It's called multi-factor what?
It's multi-factor authentication.
Oh.
Yes, it's on the other side.
I'm sorry.
No, it's completely okay.
Got it. Okay.
And so just choose email.
Yeah.
And then, and some of you who may have gone through this before might not get this prompt, and that's okay. But then after, it's going to say, way to go, I'm going to give you a recovery code in case you miss, and then it gives you this absolutely humongous, like 500 character thing. Send it to me, and I will take care of it for you. But if you do the email, and then we're going to go through the process right now. If you do the email, then it just makes this whole thing easier. And you also can remember it on your device once we go forward. So anyway, this is I promise you, this is the hardest part of this whole program, is the signing in for the first time. After you've signed in for the first time, everything's cool. So, in a browser, whichever one you care to use, apparently this one wants me to use Edge, you're going to go to call, and this address I've given you, but call for entry. Oh, and I also will, I didn't want to print .org, not .gov. I'll send you a PDF of the pages I just showed you. I just didn't want to print them out because you wanted it. But here's...
If you can say it,
share the screen. Yep. This one. How's that? Good.
Good.
All right. So when you go to the first page, you can click the login, and this is where you're going to probably get caught up. Is artist or admin? You're an admin. So you're going to go to admin. It's going to take you to your page, and chances are April and my 2025, you can do the little eyeball to check it and log in. And then, so after you've set up, please send me the email, this is what's going to come up. Okay, admin, you have to give me that MFA code, which is the one they're going to email you, which takes just a second or 2 or 3. And you can also click this little remember this device.
Oh, good.
And then you're in good shape. So, or a minute or 2.
Technology.
Well, while we sit here and wait for it to come through, I was on a Zoom call today, and my computer went all max headroom, like crazy colors, big pixels. Ooh, some machines.
Hmm.
All right, so it told me 215-268, and then you can click remember this device, which I never do because so I can show you this. Are you still able to see what's happening?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, so once you get in here, nice and easy peasy.
Yes. Okay.
Flip over and now look at your rubric. Okay. You have 3 different options to view these 12 applications. The total number is 12. Currently I have unscored 12. And as soon as I do go through and score them, then they will move over. I'll show you how it's going to do that. This is real life in applications. These are the applications. Try to reserve your opinions of what you're seeing right now to when you take the time to look at them unbiasedly and actually read the artist statement. Okay? So there's 3 different ways that you can view these. There are these little dots at the top. Preview, slideshow, thumbnail scorecard, or slideshow scorecard. I'm not going to show you all 3 of them. A preview is going to show you a slideshow of every single application. You don't want to look at it that way. You want to look at them one application at a time. Thumbnail scorecard is going to show you all of the images of the portfolio in thumbnails and then the scorecards at the end. That's not a great way because you don't get to look at large images. The best way is a slideshow scorecard. If this doesn't happen for you when you click on slideshow scorecard and you click on the total to start and it doesn't pop up, it's because the pop-ups are not enabled in your browser and you need to do that. So make sure that your pop-ups are enabled. You can, it is or is not, it's because it's a pop-up.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Iris, there is a picture of a piece of art on the screen. You just have to imagine it.
Yeah. And it looks beefy.
Like an avocado.
Then you can click on this eye in the middle. I mean, if your cursor goes away, it goes away. But if you bring your cursor over, it gives you some information specifically about this piece of art. Now, for us, because this project is different than everything we do, it's the original artwork that then is going to become a scan that then is going to become an work. So your media is important, but it's not the most important, right? It's execution, it's all the other pieces that are on your rubric, right? But you can, if you're interested what this is, you can go in there and look. You're going to go through piece by piece. And then, that's not helpful though.
How do you know which parts go where on the van?
Okay, good question. So you look through all of this person's portfolio of art, which they were allowed a minimum of 3 and a total of or up to 6. And after you have looked at the work, you will go down and you will make a score. This is the time when you are going to be using your rubric. I'm going to steal your rubric.
Yes, please.
You're going to be using your rubric every single time. Because we have bias innately within us, something that you would buy for your home, it might look different than this. What we are doing is looking at the portfolio of art, and we are looking also at the click to view answers, which is up here. And we are using these 2 things alone to judge if we want this person to come back as a finalist to pay them $250 to create a proposal. So this is a smattering, an idea of what kind of work that they do. So they were asked some specific questions. First and foremost, do you live, are you and your artist team, are you residents of Boulder and Weld County? Because that's a requirement to participate. Yes or no? If the answer is no, what score should this person get? The lowest, right? Because they are not applicable. And I did not filter this for you, so you should just see what it looks like. Then we did ask them, please include an artist statement that answers the following questions. How does your artwork of your portfolio compare to the kind of work you'll create for this project? And what would your approach be for the look and feel of this project?
I see.
No, please do not include any of your personal information. So, when the artist says, I myself am Van Gogh, and I am an amazing artist, and I live on 123 Smith Street. Like, no, you were asked not to do that, please. or, so then this artist says, the artwork submitted in my portfolio is exactly the vibrant, minimalist style of work I will create for this project, etc. Okay? So you're going to go through, you're going to read the statements, you're going to look at the art with a discerning eye of, is this or some version of this with some direction that we're going to give them about what we would like to see on our van? Is this a good solution to the problem that we have? You will use your rubric in the criteria on the left, which is the overall impact and presentation, including with the strength of their narrative. And then you're going to look at their work. Like, do they have an elevated sense of the basics of visual art, composition, technique and skill, use of color and value, originality and concept? And you're going to use a 1 to 7, 7 being high. Please stay out of the 3s and 4s. Like, is it really middle of the road? Is it, is it really? Like, try and go one way or the other. There are only 12 applications. This is an excellent exercise for our selection panelists. And also, it's going to be a really interesting project to see what comes out of it, because the second phase of this is how is it that this person is going to take what is in their portfolio and transform that into something very unique and different. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many are we breaking it down to in the next round?
Yep. So all of you are going to do your scoring, and then it's going to be down to the top 3.
Okay.
And then I'm going to send you the list of the 3 and what the van call proposal is saying. And then you're going to comment on, am I missing anything on the proposal? And then we're going to send it out, and hopefully we'll get those proposals back by April. In the April meeting. Okay. Questions? Concerns?
Excited.
I know.
So we really need like 12 of these, right?
So I didn't print out 12. If you would like 12, you could. You maybe in a notebook could maybe
so
write
just
all of 12 of them and then just use this. But I'm happy to print 12 of these out.
No,
but
that's
yes,
fine.
you're right.
Okay.
This is the criteria for every single one.
So just, we can go ahead and switch it over to something else. Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
Angela,
Yeah.
is the selection, are we all voting on the Van Gogh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Good question. Yeah. Fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry that we weren't a little bit further in this, but we did need to extend it and get a couple more
Yeah,
applications.
this is great. This is going to be a very distinctive thing driving around town.
Yeah.
It really will be.
Cool.
It really will be. Any questions? If you run into problems, in the what do you call this platform? Please do not push the call the administrator. That's me. Just email me directly, because this goes to the company, and then the company sends me a note, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, just text me or something. Okay. Have fun. Go forth and have fun. New people, you're definitely set up. People who have been on before, I have to go in and double check your passwords and just reset them. So maybe not tonight. Maybe tomorrow morning.
All right.
By noon tomorrow.
All right. So when do you want this all to be back to you?
Oh,
We have a due date here.
is 2 weeks enough? Too long?
Yeah. That's okay. 2 weeks is good.
Great. And again, I will send you a copy of my PDF that has the how-to, and I will also send you that big bad due date.
April 3rd.
Sounds good. April 3rd.
Okay. Thank you. This is exciting. Okay, now we come to our big discussion item for tonight, which is about the commission attrition idea and possible recommendation. And we do have a little narrative about the possible reducing of the number of our commissioners from 15 to 9 over an extended period of time. So, does anybody have any questions just going in? I have a few points that I wanted to make, but does anybody have any questions just going in to the discussion? Okay. So the main thing I think, after reading over this and thinking about it somewhat, I think the main points are that the smaller size of the commission may be more workable. We heard that comment from Scott last month. And by more workable, I mean efficient. We might have better and easier discussions, and there'd be more people. The task forces would be easier. How does that thing work? Okay, the task forces would be easier to participate in, right? Something about, okay.
Well, task forces technically can be as big as you want.
Right.
But because of open meetings laws, we can't meet outside of an open meeting with an agenda and posted minutes, et cetera, if it's over 2. So the more commissioners you have, then it just, like right now we have about 4 task forces, which means that half of you aren't serving on anything. That's the piece of that.
That's a piece of that, yeah. So generally speaking, we have tried to encourage the task forces to be 2 people plus Angela usually.
Yep.
Or some other staff member. And that just makes it easier for everyone, because otherwise we run into having to post the meeting, make official minutes, and post the minutes and all that kind of stuff. So that's really the part of the streamlining will be that the task forces there'd be more availability to participate in task forces. The next item that I think would be good would be that more people can be involved in the selection panels and other projects. So we could steer people that are coming, that are expressing interest to some of our other activities like selection panels, volunteering with things, being an intern, that kind of stuff. And that way people can come have an entry point so that they learn about how we do public art. So that's another important part. So the process itself, just to sum up a little bit, is that as people resign or leave, that we would be recruiting specifically more experienced and involved people. And of course, there's many wonderful people that would like to participate with us, but we would like to redirect them into selection panel or, other opportunities. We also could, this possibility of recruiting more experienced people and more involved people would increase the speed of the learning curve. Because as we all know, the learning curve is a thing to behold, and it does take a while to figure out what we're all doing here. So if people have some experience with us before they actually step onto the commission, it could increase the speed of understanding how the commission works. We do propose, part of this proposal is that we would review, the whole thing probably will take 5 to 6 years at minimum, I think, between people term limiting out and us declining to fill every spot. It'll take a few years to make it work. And then we also do propose that we would review this whole process after the commission has gone down to 9 people, that we would review it in about 3 years after that to see if we like what we did. So the options for tonight we have 2 options really, which is to make some kind of recommendation about this and send that to the city council, because we have to recommend it to council and they have to change it for us, or we can just go on with the status quo, of course. The advantages to this plan, I think, are that we will have more experienced and engaged commissioners. We will decrease the size of the commission to make more opportunity for everyone to participate, just easier, not so unwieldy. And so that's kind of my summary after thinking about it and looking at it from several different angles over the last few days. So, does anyone have any questions about
Are
discussion?
most of
or
the
discussion?
commissions 9 people? Is that the average size?
They're
of the
between
commissions?
7 and 9. There's some even
Most
smaller,
of-
right?
Yeah,
Most of
library
them are
board I think is
7.
smaller. Museum advisory board is 9.
Historic preservation is probably about 9.
What about that permits thing?
We are hands
Board of
down the
Adjustment.
Planning and
largest.
zoning.
Yeah,
Planning
planning
and
and zoning. I think planning and zoning is 9.
It might be 9.
Mhm.
It's probably in the code.
Yeah, so this is a discuss, I should say, of course.
This is a discussion.
Yeah, and, this talking points was something, just to get the conversation going.
Yeah.
This could be sliced, diced, and burnt to a crisp, or,
And we have plenty of time to discuss it, so.
We
is there
do.
anything that you want to ask about or just comment on?
We do, and it is recruitment time, and we will have 5.
Right, we have time tonight,
Seats.
not indefinitely into the future.
I love our new.
So twice a year there's recruiting and interviews for people that are interested, and those, I believe that it'll be in June that new commissioners would take their seats.
Right.
And right now we will have 5 vacancies for the June, at the June time.
Go ahead, please.
I was just going to say that I like that there are other opportunities for people to participate.
Yeah.
I don't think that's typically that common for other boards, so the steering committees and public invited to be heard. I enjoy the large group because it's fun, but I definitely understand from an administrative perspective. I think all those points make a lot of sense, and even better to do it over a long period of time and assess if it's as effective as we thought it would be. But I would be in support of it.
That is one of the reasons, it has come up in conversation, but since we'll have 5 openings, bringing 5 new people who haven't participated or known very much about art in public places, we will, should we stay 15, mentor-menteeship we will have to buddy up. We may have to buddy up anyway, but that's a lot. Here we go.
It's up at the top.
Is it? Do you see
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
In the first sentence under description.
7.
Oh. Well, that one makes sense.
7 on the airport board.
7 on the
okay.
airport. Adjustments. 5 with 2 alternates. Callahan is 7. That doesn't really count. Golf is 7. Historic preservation is 7. Housing 9. Library is 5. Housing board 7. Masters 3.
No, that's 5.
5 with 2 alternates.
2 alternates, right?
Doesn't
Book
count.
is different. Museum advisory, you said you're 9. Parks and Rec is 7. P&Z is
7.
7.
Yep.
How long have we been 15?
Since our inception.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this hasn't changed since 85 to when?
Okay,
5.
that'd be
9.
Which, let's face it, at that time, there was no collection. It was just buying. There was a lot of, buying. And so the board has changed significantly. Also, when Lauren, my predecessor, was here for 20 years, I would say that it was a very different program than where we are now.
7.
So, sustainability 7. So 7 and 9 looks like. Yeah, who has comments?
Oh, yeah, so what I was kind of talking about last time was my role was historic preservation way back when, and we had 7, but I've run committees up to 15 to 21, and I was like, how do you make this work with 15? I had trouble with that. Getting conversations to work, getting analysis done, that kind of thing. So I'd be on board with 7 or 9. Except, the coincidence is I just joined and now you're already starting to... we got to get rid of some people. So, maybe that's just a coincidence or something.
It's not even a coincidence because we have term limits,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So some people will step down at least for 1 year. You have to
Right.
step aside for 1 year, you then can reapply or come back.
Oh, consecutive?
Yeah.
2 maximum consecutive?
Yeah, but even that has got some exceptions to it because, yeah.
So 2 consecutive terms. But there was a moment right between COVID, and in fact, I even think when Lauren was here before, when someone would vacate their seat before their term was done. And so you might have been one, you might be one, I'm sorry, I don't want to where there was a partial term, then someone comes in and at random they're placed in a partial term. They finish that partial term and then they have an opportunity to reapply, and they reapply in their first term.
Yeah.
And so then they start round one. So conceivably, if someone leaves after year one of a 3-year term, then someone could sit on this board for 8 years consecutively. So when you talk about, so it's designed to be 2 terms, 3 years each for 6 years, take a year off and come back. But
Okay.
can't all, there can't be no discussion. What of this is?
Do you have a preference for 7 or 9? I guess you wrote it as 9, but maybe that's the good step down to start with and just see how it rolls that way.
7 is less than half than what we have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big
and
drop. Yeah.
One of the things I
scary
worry
face.
about is like for activities and things we're setting up and all that. If we have enough people that can all be there at the same time, that would be my only concern. Because if we're doing like for one of the fairs or one of the other things, that would be my only concern.
Yeah, but that's part of our opportunity to bring other people in, to look for other volunteers.
Yeah, but where do we
get them from?
I have an example.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's true.
Sage showed up at Pat Milbury and as a volunteer to do painting work, and then stayed around and was like, after the shift, was like, hey, how can I help? And I was like, well, like clean up trash and stuff, and Sage helped clean up trash. I was like, hey, sounds cool. So then signed up on our sign up sheet of opportunities, and then Shock Art came around and Sage was in school. And so then when Shock Art went around, Sage put in a box and won and was commissioned for their box. And then Sage taught me a lesson or two about how to wag a finger at a contractor who didn't do a very good job because Sage's box got graffiti sealed before they were done. And so
That's
even then I was
true.
like, just let's stick with it. And so then when it was time for recruiting for commission seats, Sage is in school, is super busy, and I said, hey, there's a commission seat. Do you think it would be something you would be interested in? So, and what has the learning curve been on the commission? I mean, I think it's still been a lot. I don't want to speak for you, but
Yeah, there's definitely been one, but I think it's been manageable. Yeah, I don't think it's anything too extreme.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad when I first got on. But
so yeah, I think that there's and somebody else. I don't know.
well,
Somebody
I was
else
on
before
selection.
was a selection panel. Served on
Me,
a selection.
I was on
you
the-
served on a selection panel.
I served on a selection panel, and I really enjoyed it, and I liked it a lot. So
And then
when
came
I
in-
saw, when I saw,
Nettie. Yeah.
when I saw that there was an opening to be a commissioner, then I applied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that also goes to speak for the fact that just shows more involvement at the beginning and more dedication once you do become part of the board and realize that there is a lot of time that's involved. And I think that sometimes it's easier for some of us to just be like, this sounds like fun, let's just do it and go and see where it is. And and I think that I'm even slightly guilty of that at the beginning, of being like, I saw the post on Facebook, and that's where, and I knew nothing about what I was getting myself into versus and I mean, I'm forever grateful for it, this opportunity, but again, it's just I think that if I would have been forced to actually participate and try to see what this was like, I think that it would have taught me a lot. And then again, I probably still would have went to join, but like, I think that it also just like shows that dedication of that individual, and also the time commitment that it does, that you do need, which I think if you narrow it down to 9 people, then hopefully those 9 people have that dedication, the time, and the energy to go with it. And again, like you said, there's plenty of opportunity all the way around. And again, if we need help, like there's those opportunities, especially for those that like really do want to join.
Yeah.
So
the other thing that I should mention is in the last couple of years, we also have a volunteer coordinator at the museum who has a bucket of people that are always looking for things to do. There's that way. The internship with CU is being revamped because the professor that's been running it for some number of years is retiring. So that's getting kind of redone. So it does seem like this moment of precipice and change that it makes a bit of sense. And also the great thing about an attrition process such as this is if we have 5 openings and the nominating committee reads all of the applications and there are 5 strong candidates, then we're going to seat 5 strong candidates, right? It's not that it's not a forced attrition. It's just, and it's a guideposts to ratcheting into that place over time.
And if you don't have strong candidates, you can only get 1.
That's true. Now I should put in an asterisk there.
Oh, okay.
So with the 5 seats that we have opening right now, those 5 seats are at the beginning of their term. Should we not seat that seat, then it's by the time the next recruitment process comes up, then it's a 2.5 year, and it's not term 1, it's term 0. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see. Yes.
So that's how we get into this rigmarole of commissioners seated for potentially really long periods of time, or we get stuck in seating short terms, and then maybe they come back or maybe they don't. So, anyway.
Unless that would be true unless the council accepts our recommendation, and right?
If you go through an attrition process, if the seat, so if you have 5 seats and you seat 3 of them, then 2 of them go away, and now you always keep it odd. So now you're a 13. And then it slowly but surely 1 will come up and expire, and then you either reseat it or you fill it.
It's a good thing you're keeping up with this. So,
if we can get it to 9, then I don't have to take my shoes off to figure out what's happening, right?
That's true. But the main thing is that the council will have to approve.
Yes.
We can only recommend this to
Correct.
council because council will have to change what is our charter. So if they don't approve it for whatever reason, if we recommend it and they don't approve it, then we're stuck in this like partial
We
term
just keep
thing.
going. Yeah, we just keep going.
Yeah.
We either have the partial term thing or we just keep going as we are.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And the same thing is true if we decide not to recommend it. That's true also. Yes, Jenny.
Is there any reason the council wouldn't approve that if we recommended it? If staff didn't support it, maybe.
Yeah,
the
that
only
would probably be the reason.
Okay.
I've already talked to the attorney's office, and he said that he would need from a recommendation such a document scribbled up, and like this is the recommendation, then to go forward. So it has to be something pretty well hammered out. Which, again, if you feel comfortable with an attrition process and you wanted to say, hey, we need a task force of 2 people, and the commission then says, we trust these 2 people to go forth to dirty this up and make it exactly as it should be, the final gets emailed to you all just so you know, and then that goes on. Or a task force dirties this up, we bring it back next month, you would say, yes, that's exactly how we want it to read, and then it goes on to council. Yep, but it's your recommendation. I do support attrition. I do personally think that 7 right now, feels small.
Yeah, I think that's too little.
But I think 11 keeps us in kind of the problem that we already have. Thinking about how many programs and projects we have per year, I think 9 feels good because that's basically 4 to 5 task forces, and that's what we run about right now. Yeah.
Do you think we anticipate any more projects per year than about what we have now?
Maybe when my kids graduate from high school.
Maybe, okay, all right.
I think and to be fair, like we are hiring an assistant, and depending upon the assistant's capacity and,
Right, okay.
But we have some big projects right now, and they're going to be high dollar projects. There's going to be a lot of detail, and so do I think when we're not doing a giant sculpture on the side of a fantastic museum, and it's actually two smaller projects, then maybe that. But when we're doing a big mural and a big,
That's true, we do have some big projects, that's right. So easy to forget since they're not on our agenda.
I know, right?
Okay, yes, Michelle.
I wanted to echo what Danielle said. I agreed with all of it, being someone who kind of stumbled into the opportunity. Super appreciative to be able to serve on the commission, but I can also say that sometimes I felt like that gif of the person falling back into a clothes closet where they're disappearing, in the sense that there are a lot of people, and it felt like sometimes the tasks were diluted by that. And so I think to structure it such that you recruit for someone who wants to dedicate the time and feel ownership over what's happening, and really to be okay, you can kind of get to that point naturally in meetings where it's who's not on a task force, because you're getting on one now. That feeling to me gives more active presence for all the participants in a way that I think, Angela would certainly benefit from. And so that to me, it feels like a natural process, and one I support as well. I think the only points of clarification to keep in mind would be, yes, capacity of the people that are serving really, and not to get a little ADD, but focusing on that when we are recruiting this time, like you said, looking for people with experience who were we can't miss this one.
Yeah.
The no-brainers is what I typically would call those in hiring.
Right.
And then making sure we can hit quorum at meetings and have a protocol for that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I know Lara had the RSVP yes kind of to be sure we don't need to reschedule something.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me what quorum is.
Half seated. So
Just half
actually, it's and I actually had to get that clarified one time. So it's half of whomever comes, right?
Oh.
Half of active members.
Half of
active
members. Half of active members. So at 9, it would be 5.
It would be 5. Yeah. I mean, that seems reasonable to me. That because if more than 4 people have a conflict, then we should talk about rescheduling the meeting or something, or something like that.
Yeah. And believe it or not, there is an attendancy policy.
Yeah.
So should we get into a situation where someone is seated and doesn't
attend,
then there is action that could happen then to recruit for someone to fill a seat because someone's not attending. Which, in my time, we haven't ever had problems with that.
Yes, Eve.
I agree with what everybody's been saying. I think one thing that I would be interested in is the mentoring process.
Mm-hmm.
I think that maybe making that part of the process when somebody new comes in, I think that would be excellent because, I know sometimes it's I would look around when I first was, I was what are they talking about? Just some of that stuff, some of it is acronyms, some of it is different people on different committees and they know something that I don't know or that other people don't know. So I kind of felt like I was sort of running to catch up a little just because I was didn't quite know. And I don't like to feel dumb. And then, with so many people, it's always hard. You don't want to say, I have no idea what you people are talking about. Can you give me a clue? Mm-hmm. So I think that might be helpful for, I don't know, maybe I still need to be mentored.
I would agree with that. And I think it would be a way to, that'd be something to potentially consider just an always thing. If you're new, then you get a mentor buddy for X amount of meetings or something, and that would help balance the load. I think with you, Angela, I know you'll have an assistant, but that, it doesn't feel fair to expect you to basically download all this information into someone quickly. It's just not possible. And I think it would smooth that out. It would allow new members to get to know the other commissioners as well and kind of break down some of those barriers. That's cool.
And more social. I think that one social event that we had at the end of the year was really helpful for that too. And so since we were all good and on our P's and Q's and didn't talk AIPP business, it was like, okay, we can do this. So, yeah, I agree. Cool. So, with that, you need to make a recommendation one way or the other, and I think it's prudent to have a task force, so it's not just that I put this together, that someone sits with me and digests this a bit.
So a motion could be entertained that would be something like, I move to form a task force that would recommend to City Council to proceed with an attrition process, which will be outlined by this task force.
And include a number.
Oh, yes.
Is that a motion?
That sounded like a motion.
Yeah.
Well, you have to say something like
You
that.
can make a motion if you want to.
You just have to put the number in.
Right, or right.
All right, I've already
So
written it
moved.
down. That's on the tape. All right, what should we do?
Do you want to make a motion?
No, someone else make a motion. You can say so move, something like that.
Okay, I Melanie Neske, move that we create a task force to develop the attrition process for presentation to City Council for recommendation, approval, denial, decision. Was that it?
For
How many?
up to 9, for 9 people.
Oh, for 9 people.
To get the AIPP Commission to 9 people. That's what it says on my sample.
Okay, so I will go back and look at it, but I have Melanie Neske move to develop an attrition process
with the task force consideration of attrition to City Council.
Attrition to City Council.
To reduce the AIPP commission size to 9.
Yes.
To 9. Got it. Okay.
Teamwork.
Everybody clear? Okay.
Second? Michelle?
Yes, I second.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay. All right. All in favor of this? All in favor of this motion? Any further discussion? Okay. I think I got it all. Is everyone?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay. 11. All right. Thank you all. This is going to be an interesting process.
But you have to put together a task force now.
Yes. Okay. Who would like to serve on this task force? Who likes to write policy and stuff like that?
I could help if you like.
We know that you are there.
You felt it coming.
I know you're the expert.
This is your
You said earlier.
Right.
I promise I'm
Your
gonna-
gift was, I think it's Homer Simpson into the
That's
truth.
what I was That's what I put in my head was before.
Yeah.
I've never seen The Simpsons, and I still know that from how Main Street. Don't shame me. I watch Seinfeld instead. I'm very about that.
Okay.
You're one or the other.
Okay, so who else wants to be on this task force with the great and powerful Scott?
If you want to, or you don't have to. Because we do have we have 3 people who are out. All right. Well, Scott, we'll start.
I would consider it. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm pretty good with language.
Awesome.
You are.
I don't have the experience that Scott has, but I can definitely
Yeah, be good.
Well, this
look
will
at it
be-
from a lot of angles. And
This will be a good
Sounds like a good
opportunity
team.
to get.
I agree.
Yes.
So then the
Okay.
last question is, we didn't include it, but that's okay. Do you want the task force to create the language and bring it back to you for approval? I think that's prudent,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So in April, we will discuss the language of this recommendation.
Okay.
deal.
Super duper.
Very interesting. Okay, next item. Ready to hear about bike racks?
You ready to hear about bike racks? Okay. So there are some bike racks around town that used to be a part of a community project where Boulder County youth were engaged to paint them. And the city and LDDA are powder coating bike racks black and also taking some out and putting the ones that have the Longmont logo in. I don't know if you've seen them. So just for clarification's sake, the bike racks as they are in the collection are very similar to shock art, not permanent collection. And so as I understand, and I feel very confident in this, when they are removed because they are utilitarian, they go away, they go back into the bike program, and they're done with what they may, and we have no say on how that goes, unlike a collections piece that needs to go through a deaccession process. I'm just clarifying that and bringing it to you in case anyone feels very differently about that. I don't think so. Okay, just checking. So that is happening, and some of those bike racks are coming out, and you should see fancy new black ones in place. Oh, I should clarify though. These are the U-shaped bike racks, not the art bike racks. So we do have a number of art created bike racks. Pedal Power near Memorial. We have the mountains over by the Civic Center. We have a number of them on Quail Campus with the big circle bike. Sunset Pool has the eyes and the swimmers. So not those, right? Those are collections pieces. These are the U-shaped ones.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Okie doke.
Okay.
I will show you pictures, but it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. No need.
All right. Next item. Update on the program assistant hiring and interviewing process.
I'm interviewing, and not just me. Elizabeth Myers, who's the visitor services manager, she hires a lot for the museum. We are interviewing via Zoom first, and we're getting a short list down, and then next week, at the latest, the early of the week after, we're scheduling in-person interviews, and then hopefully offering, like early April. So
How many people applied?
How many people applied? 62.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Great.
So, but I, of course, created a rubric and did a rubric for all applications to be by both Elizabeth and I, and then narrowed down to a short list, and then narrowed down to a short list. And so it's been a good process, and I don't like hiring. Interviewing's fine, but it's a lot of stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we look forward to all of this.
I can't promise by our meeting in April, but sure would be nice.
We'll see.
I'll invite if
Okay. All right. Shock art report.
Oh yeah, I needed to add Shocker because guess what? Shocker is starting. We will start taking submissions April 1. We've already and previously spoken to the Civic Center about having a short-term display here as well. The museum will still be open for our amount of time to still have a display there. And I have not spoken to our friends over at the marketplace. I was in there yesterday, and there's new antique shop, and they got a lot of furniture out, like a lot.
In the middle?
In the middle.
Oh, I
So
just saw that today.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to clarify with them that they'll have enough room for us, considering we had like 40 entries last week. Or last year.
Yeah.
So we just want to make sure that there's ample space before.
Right. I just like that downtown
I do too.
voting location because it's easy to get people in off the sidewalk.
Yes.
And goes on during art walk or some kind of
The second Saturday start.
second Saturday. So
Yeah.
I just I thought last year's was really good where we had the Old Town Marketplace and then went to the museum.
Yep.
I thought that was a good idea too.
So I will work with them. It'll be, even if we have to, we'll find a way.
Okay, so just a reminder, the submissions are the maquettes, which are the little models, the scale models of the shock boxes,
and they're very funny. So, and they're charming. So that will involve setting those up, talking to people as they go by, talking to people about how to vote, what they, just there's a lot of visiting with people and volunteering for that.
Yep.
Participating in that.
So I'll make sure to send the information your way to share about submissions. And then once those days are locked in, where we'll have the community engagement aspect of to meet with people and encourage them to vote. Because I think that even if Cindy were here, she would basically shove the vote, and I would say this to her face, obviously. She'd like shove it into their hands, like with the pencil. And sometimes people are apprehensive to want to participate that way, but when you are there and encouraging them and saying that, you have a voice in this decision, then they get really excited. So
right, and it is so. Just to remind everyone, part of the reason why it's fun is that everyone can vote. The kids can vote, tourists can vote, people visiting from out of town. Everybody can vote on it. So it really is like, and the kids are so cute the way they carefully go around and look and write on their little pieces of paper. So it's full on democracy.
yes, yes.
Okay, so now we come to commissioners' comments, and I want to just open this up for questions because I know that when I was first on the commission and I was on my learning curve, I'm still there, but that there was a time when people could ask questions about how things work or anything like that. So if you would like to comment on anything, ask some background questions, find out about our budget, without it going too long, please. This is your moment. Does anybody have anything they've just been curious about? Eve.
Well, I just think I would think it would be interesting to know what other projects are in the pipeline.
Sure.
Because it seems like things just show up and then we're working on that, but I don't have any idea what.
Yeah, that is true.
And I don't know. I just think I always want to know.
Sure.
What's happening. So that would be something I'd be interested in.
Yeah. You want me to put little slide deck together? How do you want to see that?
Oh, I don't know.
You want to just tell her a few things?
You want me to go?
Well, you
want me
don't
to
have to
just
do
go?
it today either.
Yeah, sure.
I don't care about that. It's just it just seems like it's a need to know thing, and it's like, well, it would be nice to know.
That's fair.
Well, the biggest things, of course, as have been mentioned, are the mural on the side of the museum.
Nope. Mural on the side of the garage.
The mural on the side of the garage, and something, I'm not sure what's happening at the museum.
Hotel Longmont.
Hotel Longmont garage. Yep.
Oh.
My suggestion would be at the bottom of our agenda, have just a notation, upcoming projects.
Oh,
Then at least then you've got the words as far as what they're called, and then perhaps, do something a little bit more to expound upon it each time.
Yeah.
But then it's a visual on the agenda, and you can kind of process
I love that.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Can do.
What are we doing at the museum? Are we doing
A
something?
large sculpture.
Oh, a large sculpture. And we're also at the museum, we're moving one of our pieces to a new area. That etched glass piece is being moved.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And
we just have
So the hidden trails, unseen paths, which if you are on your way to see Picasso, go see Picasso now. If you're on your way to see Picasso, it's on your right. And so that will be removed in the location you have already blessed and confirmed. But it's actually really brilliant. Where we'll move is when visitors are coming into the museum and they just past the visitor's desk. It will be extremely visible right as you walk in. And the artist was really excited when I spoke to her. She's olderish now, works in smaller scale, still up in Lyons. But she's excited because she was never terribly fond of the reflection that comes in from the windows at present onto that etched glass. And so she's excited because it will give it the depth.
the luminosity.
And so we will be, of course, that is something that you will be doing is creating and storing that. It will be going to the MCC, so it'll be going out to the museum collections facility, and we'll be snuggled up there until it's time to install. And the artist, her only concern about reinstallation was making sure that when we're removing the glass, that we are documenting the very delicate sponge painting texture that is behind the glass so that we can recreate it, and she will not be painting. So we'll be hiring out a contractor to do that work. The garage mural, so that's, what's the word? Precast concrete. When you go up to a garage, there's like a curb looking thing. So both the external side of that faces the alleyway, all of that. So it's going to be really long and really narrow, not high, not tall. So that'll be interesting.
Kind of like the spoke, but not.
Not at all like the spoke. It'll be just one really, yeah, long.
Oh, interesting.
And then I'm still not clear if it is any side on the north, because then Los Arcos is right there.
Right.
But it's definitely all that space that faces the
Faces north, right?
faces west.
Oh, the west side, okay.
So that's your garage mural. Of course, then the museum will be getting a large sculpture, likely on the, you decided on the southwest corner that kind of faces Quail and Maine. There may be an extension of the shop. There may not be an extension of the shop. But needless to say, the work will be up and above. So where sometimes I think that people are on Main and they see our building, I say our building, they see the museum, and they think it's the rec center, there's going to be a giant piece of artwork on the outside. So the rec center and the museum will have a very specific, so that turret business won't be that similar connection. So that'll be this year, that'll go out. And then the last one is your extreme heat bus shelter. Will happen this year. I feel like I'm forgetting, so those are the big ones. Yeah. But I will make a list, and if a slide deck is helpful,
Very nice.
do that
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Do we have any sort of digital collaboration space?
Digital collaboration space.
What
Sorry,
I
tell me
sound
more.
like that person, but like
No, tell me more.
Well, I'm just thinking for like at work we have like Teams channel or SharePoint or something, and just thinking it would be a great way to keep each other updated on what's going on. We could share pictures. We could put updates in there on all of the different.
We are not allowed to have such a thing because it is. This is our website, I would say, is probably the extent of, and that's a good question because it's come up before, like a SharePoint site or something like that. Yeah. I don't know if there's a way that maybe we could. I don't know. I'm looking at you.
Yeah,
You have all the answers.
The
Website.
Teams, Teams doesn't allow it with exterior ones, and the city really frowns on folks going outside to a Google Drive, things like that.
Sure.
Because any text, any Post-it note, any record is what it is called, is subject to Colorado Opens Records Act. And the city, because the city of Longmont believes that transparency is important, they also are mindful of making sure that should a records request come in, that we could successfully accomplish grabbing all of the applicable records and being able to hand those over. So if such, a records question came in about this year's shock art, I may have to come around to all of you and say, did you make any notes about shock art for this year? Because you're decision makers and you're seeing city tax dollars in action and happening. And so should someone outside of the world want to understand how city tax dollars are being applied to shock art, I legally and we legally are required to hand over any of those records that demonstrate how those dollars are being used.
Yeah, and there's no clean way to do that. And yeah,
Luckily, that's somebody else's job of what to tell me we can and cannot do. But so while it's a wonderful idea, I think no. But if you look at the website, and if you can think of ways that something on there, a tool, could be used in a better way for us, that's a good way. We also do have a database that I don't think we're quite using up to its potential. And then thirdly, we do have a GIS team here in the city. And should we ever get to the place where all of the different pieces in the collection have a GIS point, we could start taking, and it is a goal, it's a stretch goal, but it is a goal to take our collections database to the next level of having a map where you click on a space and it opens up a picture and then it has a narrative and
yeah, there you go.
And maybe potential future projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah, these are good questions and good ideas. Right now, the best way really is to just volunteer for a lot of things and sit around with other commissioners and visit. And
carefully and one at a time, and not
discussing anything that we make decisions
on. Not more than that, or it's a meeting, right? So
right. And also, I just want to encourage you all to attend whenever they have that annual or whenever it is meeting of the people on boards and commissions. That's
staff appreciation.
And staff appreciation. Yes, then you'll get to meet more people and see how the city works. The thing about the orientation for boards and commissions is the city clerk and the city attorney, and they are thorough, and it's really good, and you get to see other board members too. It's fun.
And if you also ever want to call me or come, I feel like I'm pretty open door for the reals. My door is very, very open, and
you have no door.
I do not have a door. But there's a bench, and we can get comfortable, and you can see my plants, and or a phone call anytime, evening, whatever you like. Just let me know.
Evening.
Oh,
throw that out, Angela.
I'm mom taxi, and then I'm parked. I have time. I can make time.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
I text all hours of the day.
Yeah, sure. Good questions.
Okay. Anything else anybody's curious about or whatever, Scott?
When I was walking the neighborhood hanging flyers, I was wondering, should I have a little badge or something?
Yes. We do have those. We have those.
Do we? Okay.
We have them. You have to be sure to ask for it and check it out because they don't want us to have them at home.
I'll give it to you if you don't lose it. But if you end up on my you lose badges list, then you have to check out.
I know about those people.
Who would like a badge? And I'm happy to. That's awesome.
I think, we could all use one.
All right, I'm going to make badges.
Oh, man.
Okay.
It would have been, I was going to say at least having some available when there's a task like that.
It was Lamar Lane.
Say that.
Oh,
yeah.
Make a stick-on note of doing that if you want.
Absolutely. Badges? We need stinky badges. No, that's great. I know, it was right.
I want a flower on mine.
It'd be nice at any public event,
Yeah.
It's just
Right, yeah.
How did hanging go? I heard from some people it was good. Did you run into anybody?
No, so
Nobody
I
else
thought I
One
would.
person was on their porch, and I handed it to them, and they said thank you.
Okay, yay!
That was it.
Yeah. How cordial.
Every neighborhood's different. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was cool to check out the neighborhood, see the park, and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. It was well done to split the task up. I was very happy.
It's so much better than postcards because I think people actually read them. A lot of people who came said that they got the information from their door hanger.
Nice.
So, and I know it's laborious and it's not the best looking print job that there ever was, but
No, it looked good.
yeah, it was cool.
I'm curious how the Picasso exhibition is going. Eric, just
going very well. We are actually seeing attendance numbers that are rivaling those of the Lego exhibit.
Wow, that's
Very pleased.
excellent.
Yeah, and very well received.
Well,
lot of new memberships.
Mm-hmm.
When is the end of the exhibition?
We're just about to announce an extension. So it was to have ended on May 5th, I think, and it'll be extended through the 25th.
Oh, cool.
That's wonderful.
Great.
Good work.
Fantastic.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments? Or everyone doing good? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Do we need to ask the?
Oh, yeah, do we need
the-
more public
the
invited to be
public
heard?
Oh, I'm
be
sorry.
heard to say anything?
Thank you, Teresa.
I just, honestly, you all do some wonderful work here, and just, that's about my only comment.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
a good one.
Thank
That's a
you.
good one.
Did you have any?
Okay, Eric, you want to say?
I just want to clarify, am I allowed to ask questions, or is this really just statements?
You can ask questions, and should you have business that you wanted to add to an agenda, you and I would do that separately, like if you wanted to do something like that. But if you have any questions for the commission, that's fine. I don't know what we can answer.
That's good. I can give it.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
What's going on the Save-O-Mat? Anything new?
We are meeting with I think we have a grant meeting tomorrow, actually, if it wasn't today. Yeah, and we're moving along trying to get everything zoned out for phase 1.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I don't
It is
know.
a slow process. It'll be a couple of years for sure. But
What is the Sable?
600 Main, it's that lot that's right over by Pump House.
Yeah. Oh, across the street. Yeah, the empty lot. Gotcha. Okay.
Are you going to have to do? Is there gas and that sort of thing? Are you going to have to do some remediation with the dirt?
We are doing remediation. There's also a well there that needs to be routinely checked.
There used to be a river underneath it.
Oh,
Yeah.
What?
It's being monitored.
is it just low?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a
the
lot
water
of
table?
lead paint, is what I'm told.
Okay.
Used to be a river.
But they're watching the ground to
Okay.
make sure we're not disturbing anything.
Okay. Interesting. Oh,
Right.
interesting. Maybe they can build the river into your design.
Well, see, there you go.
And I will remind, it's all being recorded, so
Yeah, that's true.
this might not be appropriate for
True.
public places.
We were going to rush in there and try to put something in that lot.
Oh, how
Okay.
interesting. What are you doing with the telephone?
With the telephone.
The
That's
telephone?
I'm
ours.
not sure about that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that,
All
that-
the
talked about
telephones
that
are
recently.
ours.
that's another project of ours, which is there's 3 phone booths downtown that have no phones in them, and they've been abandoned by some company that used to own them.
Used to be called Quest.
Oh, Quest.
With a Q.
And they
yeah.
belong
Oh, I
to us
remember
now.
them.
Yeah. And one of them is at the Save-O-Mat, one of them's at Winchell's, and one of them is across the street from Z's.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes, they're quite relics, and they belong to us now, and we've had some ideas about what to do, but we haven't taken any action yet.
What do they look like on the outside? I've just
They're not the Doctor Who booth. They're the kind that you walk up to, and
little
it's kind of a...
old school.
No, this is
Not-
newer.
Sorry, like yes, smaller, modular, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're mounted on the side
Most
of
of them don't have the phone anymore.
Got some fun graffiti on it now.
A lot of
Oh, great.
Like,
Yeah.
Too bad they're not Doctor Who's.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
There's
really
an
cool.
occasional one of those in Britain, still not too many.
There's
Yeah.
one in
Okay.
the Times Co. building. There's a phone booth in there. If you've ever been there.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay.
Vote.
All right, all in favor? Okay, is that everyone? Did you vote?
And
Iris has her hand.
11.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Great, thank
Iris.
you, Iris.